Welcome to the Uncontested Investing Show, presented by REI Inc. magazine and sponsored by RCN Capital. Each week, we focus on bringing you candid convos from the best in the biz. Here's your host, Tim Herriage.
Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. I'm Tim Herriage. Thank you so much for swinging back by. Today, I'm with my good friend, Kevin Lee. Kevin, thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for Tim for this opportunity to invite me to the studio to really have a candid talk with you.
Man, I'm glad you're here. So why don't you just start off, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I started real estate investing back in 2010. I did that somewhat passively for about 7 years. And I was just buying like rental properties while I was in my W-2. And I did that for 7 years, and then I decided to just, do this like full-time active. And I didn't find any passion or fulfillment in my W-2 job, so I quit that and started like active real estate investing back in 2017. I started out like just virtual wholesaling, just like anybody else in the business. I thought that was like the easiest way to break into the industry. Had some success with that, so I just say to myself, hey, why not just go big or go home, right? And so I kind of like just went big on it, and been doing this for 5 years, and we had great success doing this, and never look back.
Yeah, now you've gone big and we brought you home. So
I know.
I start every episode with a segment I call the bottom line up front. So in the military, we used to brief generals. And they always said you don't bury the lead, right? It's not a sales presentation. You got to get the most important thing out front in case the general has to leave. So imagine someone's tuning into this episode, but in a little bit they're going to pull over and get gas, and they're going to forget to turn it back on. So let's try to find a way. Let's give them the most important thing that you see in real estate today, things that you think people should be focusing on, maybe things that you think people should be doing differently or maybe not doing at all.
I think that we have been bombarded with so much media attention. I think that you should really just insulate yourself from media. Whatever bad news that you hear, from all these news outlets, you should just do what is best for you. If you look at real estate as a investment instrument, right? Over time, just kind of like the stock market, it's gonna go up over time. So I would say I'm in it for the long term, and I don't know about you, the audience, but I wouldn't let whatever recession or the bad news hit you, and I would just go full on, with whatever that you think is good for you. I would just buy these properties and hold on to them for as long as I can, and then wait for equity to build up. And just invest for the long term. I'm actually in it for the long term. Yeah, so I would encourage the audience to do the same as well. Just just hang on there. It's gonna come back, and there's gonna be a blip in the market, right, in the next couple months, but we're gonna be coming out okay, just fine. So just have that confidence in the market, right? In real estate, it's a hard asset to own. It's not like stocks where it just goes up and down like that, and you can lose money so easily. But we're talking about hard asset here. So just hang on to these hard assets, and over time, you're going to be coming out just fine.
Man, that's good stuff, because so many people, they lose focus of the assets, right? They start focusing on the money, on the income, on the lifestyle, right? But they lose focus of the assets. And I think I've been studying a lot about compound interest, right? And looking at the way real estate appreciates and how it's the compounding effect. I think that really just, like, when you look back in the rearview mirror, it's nice, isn't it?
You definitely hit the nail on the head. It's the compounding effect, right? And I'm kind of like Warren Buffett, value investor. He sees it, over the long term. I see it in the long term as well. A lot of people are just in it to make that quick buck. And you have to have the mindset that, this is not like a get rich quick, overnight quick scheme, right?
Right.
You have to be in it for the long term. Just like building a company or starting a brand new business, right? You're not looking for that exit the very next day, right? You're looking for that exit, given that the market condition is really good for you to IPO, right? So talking about probably, I don't know, what do you think the long runway is for a startup to become mature? 5 years maybe?
Yeah, I mean, 5 years.
You gotta give it time, right? Yeah. For it to grow, to capture the market. And we're just talking about this offline, that you're maybe less than 1% of the market, right? The TAM. So we're barely scratching the surface. And we got like 70 plus years, right?
So speaking of startups, you come from these California markets. You said you used to live in the Bay Area. You kind of were involved in some, I think you said some technology companies. Your tech background, were you like a software developer? Did you own a startup? What did you do there?
No. So I work in several like tech companies, big and small. I started, working for Cisco Research, the R&D arm of Cisco Networks, and I was just writing some research papers, just doing the cutting edge technology for them for a little bit, and then I wanted to do something that's more applicable, right, in the industry. So I quit that, and then I joined a startup, and did that for like a couple years before that company got acquired. And then I joined Oracle. They had a division that was doing public cloud. So we had a lot of people that were moving, just kind of like got acquired. They actually left Amazon Web Service and then joined Oracle. So we started something there as well. So that was a good run for like a couple of years.
And so earlier you said that you didn't have a lot of passion for your W-2. Of all, you seem like a very insightful person. Insightful REI is your kind of taglines on Instagram and your handles. What was it about because you said you passively invest first, right? What was it as an I'm going to say, I know it's wrong, as an IT guy, what was it that drew you to passively investing in real estate?
Well, I would say that I still have passion in computer science. When as far as getting a PhD in computer science, I can be so geeky about, just technology, programming and stuff like that. It's almost, writing a program is almost like writing a poem, coming from that perspective. So I wouldn't really just discount that experience. But at some point, right, it's almost at your career, there's like nothing else for you to do. Like you have done everything, you have created everything, you have designed everything, right? So what is there left to do for somebody who is super creative, right? And I'm just looking for the next big thing, if you will, next opportunity. I guess that opportunity wasn't there at that particular moment. So I have passion in real estate. I was already doing it on the sideline. So I said, why not just do this full time? Maybe there's an opportunity there. And little did I know, yes, it did create opportunities for me too. We're talking about Airbnb, short-term rental, and stuff like that.
Well, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. So you and I are in a master.
It's a spin off of what I do. Currently, which is like active fix and flip and wholesale and stuff like that.
Well, you and I are in a mastermind together,
right?
And RCN, we loan you money, and I've seen a lot of your fix and flip stuff. But I think like when people hear you in the mastermind, everybody latches on to the Airbnb part of your business, right? It's just sexy. Everybody likes that. So what got you? I'm very interested in this, and then we're going to take a break. What got you from passive to active wholesale to fix and flip to Airbnb? Can you, like in a minute, just kind of break down your thought processes in between stages?
Well, from the very get-go, my thinking has always been, how do I build that passive income, right? In a super high-priced market like California, right? So I thought about, long-term rental, but that doesn't really pencil out in my market because the price, housing price there is so super high. So in order for us to cash flow in those markets, right, is, we had to go with short-term rental. It just so happened that we stumbled across this, and it can make us, cash flow on these properties that we like to just hold on for the long term. So we're kind of like just taking the best part of two worlds. These properties, they do appreciate in value. as opposed to homes in Midwest, right? They don't appreciate as fast, and we can also bank on cash flow as well.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about a little bit more about Airbnb. I want to talk about technology in real estate. I really want you to maybe give some tips and some things that you've learned from the tech side,
Sure.
like you were sharing yesterday. And then I want to talk to you kind of about where you go from here. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for fast funding for your next fix and flip? What about leverage for your next long-term rental or vacation rental? Need capital for a new construction project? Look no further. RCN Capital has you covered. As the leading nationwide lender for real estate investors, RCN Capital offers short-term and long-term financing solutions for your next investment property. RCN Capital takes a common-sense approach to your loan request, offering high leverages and low rates backed by superior customer service. Whether you're investing in single-family properties or multifamily properties across the U.S., RCN Capital has funding options for you with no hoops to jump through and quick closings in as little as 2 weeks. Ready to get a quote for your next investment property? Visit rcncapital.com/podcast to apply today. There is no fee to apply. Again, that's rcncapital.com/podcast to apply today.
Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. I'm Tim Herriage. I'm still here with my buddy Kevin Lee. Kevin, everybody I know that wants to talk about real estate investing is like, oh, I want an Airbnb. And I was talking with someone earlier today, and in May of this year, Airbnb had the highest vacancy rate it had had really since the platform matured, and they had more inventory than they had had. But then I talked to people like you, and you didn't have vacancy problems, and I look at my portfolio, and I didn't have vacancy problems, and I was speaking to another lady who runs Airbnbs in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and she didn't have vacancy problems. So then I start thinking, okay, the difference is in these scenarios is we're running it like a business. We're professionals.
Yeah.
We're leveraging tools and technology to kind of manage our machine. I want to just start the conversation there. Why don't you just kind of share some of the things you've learned as an Airbnb investor and maybe some things that you did wrong at first and that you're doing better now?
I think that we're always evolving, and I'm learning as I go as well. And there's so much technology that you can leverage in this business, right? And I encourage all the listeners to really leverage the technology, because that's how you can scale, right? And that you can actually have this as a business, treating it as a business. And I mentioned a few things, right? Like the tech stack you must have in this business. For example, Hospitable. We use Hospitable to automate communication with guests, to automate reviews, and to really just automate the process of checking in, checking out, and so forth. And to make sure that there's no double booking across platforms, Airbnb, Vrbo. We have our listings on these two main platforms. I talked about using Hostfully, which is like a virtual guidebook, right, that we can give to guests so that we can capture their information and then they can book with us direct, down the road in the future, right? So that's kind of like what I envision this to be. Is ultimately when we build a business, right? We don't want to be in the business, in the day-to-day, right? And then you want to just be on the business and really just working on the back end, and also price labs too, right? So you have dynamic pricing, throughout, so all based on seasonality, right? So this actually improves your SEO on Airbnb.
So Hospitable, Price Labs. And what was the other one?
The other one is Hostfully.
Hostfully.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to stop there, but I mean, I'm going to have to be a computer scientist to figure all that out, right?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, these are done by computer scientists or programmers to make it so easy for like you and I to actually use or consume. It's almost like a service, right?
So I don't have to be the poet here. I can just read the poem.
No, you can just read the poem and enjoy it.
Well, I mean, that's important, right? Because people they hesitate approaching new technologies because of the fear of the unknown, or maybe it's going to be too difficult. Yeah. And then, they hear a computer scientist guy like you that said that writing code is like writing poetry, and they're like, well, I don't like to do either. So So let's talk about your fix and flip business. I mean, everybody reads that the market's going to heck and you should run away from real estate. Is that what you're doing?
I don't think so. I mean, again, this is a business, right? I mean, if we don't buy houses and we don't improve on these houses, right, we don't have a business to run. I think that you definitely need to be wiser, smarter in underwriting your deals, right? So if it goes, I mean, we're kind of in a recession right now, as everybody is talking about it. It's just need to buy deeper, yeah. And we still have a lot of competition, but it's just not as competitive as before. The buyers that I used to, compete with, they're basically just sitting on the sideline, which is good for me, So I'm the only one that's actually in town, like buying deals, and I'm able to get like $20,000, $30,000 of discount that I was never able to get like 3-4 months ago, right? So that's actually good for me, right? The less competition you have in the marketplace, right? The better it is for you because you'll be that monopolistic player in the market.
So one of the things that's always interested me about you is I like to watch your TikToks and your Instagram, you're really big into fitness. You seem to be a really big giver, like you like to share with others. From what I can tell, you put out a really good product. But aren't you worried that people aren't going to want to buy houses anymore?
I wouldn't think so. It's almost like one of the necessities, right? Like food. You need to buy food to exist, right? You need to buy drink. You need to breathing air. You need to buy water to drink, right? You need to buy a shelter, to living. I don't think that it's never ever gonna go away. And I don't know how they just kind of just took a different spin on the supply, the housing shortage supply in the market. Like we're talking about it when the market was really hot, right? We're still lagging on supply. And now nobody is talking about, hey, there's a housing shortage. All they talk about is recession.
Right.
So I'm so surprised. It's still just.
Well, it goes back to what you said at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. I mean, how can you just all of a sudden change the script and change people's psychology about the market? You just turn the script around.
So the math is we're like 5 million homes short in existence right now.
The fundamental data is still, the numbers don't lie, right? So how can you just all of a sudden change the script? Oh yeah, we're in a recession and we're gonna have like a 20% price reduction, right? And I think that is so wrong for the media to put that fear in people's mind. And now everybody is not buying houses, right? Everybody is sitting on the sideline. But if you have a baby that's gonna be due tomorrow, right? You can't help it. It's not like you can hold off on that. If you need to buy a house tomorrow for your family to live in, you gotta buy it because it's a necessity.
Right.
So I wouldn't worry about it. If you can buy this market, high interest rate market, right? You can certainly be able to afford that house down the road because who knows? Maybe the interest rate is gonna come down and you can do a refi. And the house payment is going to be less.
Right.
Yeah. So bite that bullet right now.
I think so. And when you look at what's happened since May, the new home building activity has dropped off a cliff. New listings every week has dropped off a cliff. But year over year, the average dollar per square foot of sold houses in America is up 9%. Now, it may be down from April, but April was crazy time.
Yeah.
Everybody was so afraid that rates were shooting so far up that they rushed to get a house.
Right.
And some of them didn't even know what house they were looking at. They were 7 offers. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but it's actually a good segue. Talk about the necessary skills to navigate this business. Specifically, if I'm ignoring the media, and you're telling me to look at the data, what am I doing? What is the data that I need to look at?
So there's several data that you should look at. I think Redfin publishes these unbiased data. You have to be very intelligent at analyzing, sifting through the data, because you can massage numbers any way you want, right? To really just match that or align that with your perception of the market, right? So how do you really step out of that bias and look at data differently? So I think that you should definitely follow people, right, the industry leaders on these matters, and then have a really unbiased view toward it.
I think percentages are the most misleading thing in today's economy.
Definitely.
I mean, I read days on the market up 100% in Boise, Idaho, and I was like, oh my gosh, right? And it went from 7 to 14. The all-time average is like 90, but it's 26% of new listings have price reductions,
right,
which is a 150% increase over last year. It's like, yeah, but they also went on the market at 25% above what they were last year. So it's like percentages.
So misleading.
Right. Because it's a 100% increase to go from 1 to 2, and to go from 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And to go from 4 to 8, and to go from 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 64.
That will be difficult.
At that point, we're finally at the normal days on the market for Dallas-Fort Worth over the last 10 years. Right? So we would have to double. Like, but
we have a long way to go.
That's
basically.
right.
Yeah.
And new listings, I was reading last week, are down like 24% year over year. So, and new home building activity is dropping off like 5% a month, right? Like, and we were already undersupplied. It's like when you start adding in the supply issues with the demand issue, like you said, because like you can't just put all the babies on hold.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's interesting. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do my favorite segment, and that's the Money Minute. So get your motivation ready, all right?
Sounds good.
We'll be right back.
REI Inc. is a monthly business publication for real estate investors, covering all types of real estate investments and strategies. It is the most comprehensive real estate investment publication on the market. All of the articles are written by the top leaders in the industry, so investors are assured of always getting the best information possible. Each month, REI Inc. also profiles the top companies in the industry and provides insights and data into key regional markets. Along with their sister platforms, the REI Referral Network and Highest Invest, real estate investors have exclusive access to off-market investment opportunities and national acquisition and disposition initiatives. To learn more, visit www.rei-inc.com, where you can also access the REI Referral Network. Also, be sure and visit www.highest-and-vest.com to view the latest exclusive off-market assets with near immediate acceptance decisions and closing strategies. You can also email marketing@rei-referralnetwork.com to request more information.
Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. I'm Tim Herriage. I'm here with Kevin Lee. Kevin, it's time for the Money Minute. So the Money Minute, I just imagine that there's someone out there, maybe a young Kevin that's stuck in his W-2 job, maybe someone that has started investing and is struggling in some way, shape, or form. What is I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I want you to spend that minute pouring into the person. And imagine this is the only piece of advice they're going to get all month.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. I say follow your passion and really just stick to your gut feelings. Listen to what your gut, your stomach is telling you to do, and don't follow whatever that's outside of you, the media, your friends, and so forth. You are your own startup. You lead your future, your destiny. So nobody is going to have any business in that, So you gotta follow your heart. Just do whatever that you think is right for you and your family. Follow your passion, right? I was just so sick and tired of my W-2 job, and I wasn't growing, and just real estate provided me a vehicle for me to just I have passion in real estate. That's why I pursued that and quit it. So this is what you need to do. Just follow your heart. You'll be fine.
Kevin, that was great advice, and I specifically like the part about mixing passion and heart, because so many people get into the entrepreneurial businesses for a reason, for financial freedom or money or more time with their family or something like that. And then they get married to the business, and all they do is pour their whole body, heart, and soul into the business, and they start forgetting the things that they actually said that they were doing the business for.
Right.
So I just think that's excellent advice. I I'm just going to kind of rapid fire, if you will. Just keep your answers a little short, because I've got a lot I need to ask you. You ready?
Sure.
All right.
Let's
Airbnb. Is it going to be outlawed in California?
In certain areas, yeah, we have seen that happening already. You know, there's like local ordinances that's like kind of rolling out. I wouldn't say this is a California specific thing. This is like nationwide, and regulation is not like bad, really.
Right.
You know, we need to put some regulation in place just so that we know how we operate this kind of business. It's not like wild, wild west, like
right.
what crypto is right now, right? We need to put some regulations there.
Right.
And this actually, we encourage business owners like us to kind of know like how we operate within boundaries as well.
Do you consider yourself in the real estate investing business with regards to your Airbnb properties, or in the hospitality business?
I think that I have my both feet in both worlds. You know, this is a business. You know, we acquire these underlying assets. It just so happened that on top of these assets, we run like hospitality business, right? And these hospitality business are paying us money, and they're like cash flow to us, right? So we're taking these two businesses together.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have you're like McDonald's, right? You have a real
exactly.
estate business,
Right.
and then you have a hospitality business. They just
Right.
happen to be co-located.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
How important is it to have a manager in the Airbnb business?
I think that's huge with any business, right? Like if you're running this as a business, you need to have a CEO, you need to have a COO, right? I happen to be the CEO, and I have a chief operating officer who is my manager that's managing the day-to-day, and we have like employees underneath the COO that's gonna like facilitate the day-to-day even at a finer detail. Yeah, so that's kind of like the hierarchy of the business, you know, or the company.
What's next for Kevin Lee?
It's a good question. I'm still thinking, you know, I want to do, you know, I just build out like, you know, several verticals, you know, have more passive income, you know, revenue streams. So we're kind of like just looking at, you know, several opportunities out there.
How important has networking been to your success?
Huge, huge. Networking is huge. I don't think that you can do it by yourself. You definitely need to leverage your network. Your net worth is your network, right? So the people that you hang out with is going to help you to build your net worth.
If you had it all to do over again, what's one thing you would do different in your real estate investing journey?
I would say that would probably start like maybe 10 years earlier. I so wish that this kind of education, real estate education, financial education was given to me while I was in school. Nobody teaches you this like in primary school, secondary school. I think that needs to be part of the curriculum. Needs to be integrated in our education system.
What is the dumbest thing you've done in real estate investing?
I guess the dumbest thing is buying something that's way too high. You know, I bought a property just recently, and I didn't, you know, I didn't even go see it, and you know, it's like $40,000-$50,000 way over budget, and now I'm dealing with the aftermath of it. You know, I'm just gonna sit on it, wait for the market to come back, and then just sell it without even touching it, because you know, it's gonna cost me more money to just fix it, you know, to flip it and lose money that way, you know, the time and,
right.
you know, the money spent. I'm just going to sit on it and just let the market come back, and then we're going to sell.
What's the best thing you've done in real estate investing?
The best thing I've done in real estate investing is to really just explore the different iBuyers out there, just so that we can create that inventory for ourselves. You know, really to like what I'm doing right now is to just create a brand, because you know that's how you get your name out there. You know, the monthly meetup that I hold in my local market, that's kind of like a channel for me to like just not only just to connect people together, but ultimately, you know, that's where you know, these deals get fed to me as well, because you know I'm the organizer, the person that's behind the meetup. And I think that goes, you know, with, you know, what you guys are doing as well. I think that's brilliant, because once you start creating value for other people, the value will come back to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is everyone that's listening to this should send me deals? Is that what you?
Oh, that would be great.
Or you?
That would be great.
So why did you start a meetup?
Why did I start a meetup?
To show off your houses?
No, not at all. I want to be able to just pay forward. That's how I started this business. Is I went to a meetup like this. That's how I found my business partner back then, and then we just started doing something great. I want to create a channel because right after the pandemic, all the meetups they shut down. There's not a meetup like a live meetup where people can come and network with each other. So I want to just create something that's unique. And we invite different speakers. I think Eric is going to be the next speaker in line. He's going to come and speak to us about lending. And I want to give back. I want to bring the next generation of wannabe real estate investors. I want to just tell them the possibilities out there for them.
Well, that's just awesome, man. So we're almost out of time. This is the time of every episode. I tell the guests, why don't you just share any parting thoughts or parting shots?
Yeah, I say, like I mentioned before, is to really just follow your passion. I think the number one limiting resource that we have here on this earth is time, right? The moments that we want to capture. And we really don't have enough of those, right? So you have to understand, ask yourself, what are you in this business for? Yeah, you're in this business to create financial freedom, to create moments for you, right? Where we can be out there grinding and so forth, but we forget the most important thing, which is that time that we want to spend with our lovely ones, whether it's your parents, whether it's your kids, right? Your spouse and so forth. So I'm really inspired by the next guest here. He's about a lifestyle business, right? This is what it's all about, right? Just creating moments so that because you can't capture those. And we use money to really create those moments for us. So just kind of understand, ask yourself, what you are in this for. Are you in this for just money? Money can come and go. Or are you in this for passion, for your heart? Yep, that's my parting thought.
That's a great way to sign off. So, Kevin, buddy, thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you, Tim.
Thank you all for listening. Remember, your network is your net worth, and today you've been growing both. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Uncontested Investing Show. Questions about today's episode or the podcast? Email podcast@rcncapital.com and make sure to follow RCN Capital on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. See you all next time. The preceding program is furnished by RCN Capital LLC. The information provided is for general education purposes only and does not constitute any legal, financial, investment, or other professional advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed of any speaker are the speaker's own opinion and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of RCN Capital LLC. No information contained in this episode should be construed as financial, investment, or legal advice from RCN or any individual, author, host, or guest. You should always consult a financial advisor before investing.